Struggling with newsfeed that no one can explain to you? Then welcome to my channel. I'm Polly. This is Harry Potter and Real Politics Explained.
You have nothing to fear if you have nothing to hide.
Have you noticed how Putin reminds Voldemort? Here we talk about what is happening in real world right now, using examples from literature and Harry Potter. Spoiler alert, history from the books is happening right now.
Agreed.
As a teacher, I explain complex things with simple language and prefer to use the best example there is. Thank God that Wizarding World of J.K. Rowling offers the best. How Vladimir Putin became a worse villain than Dark Lord himself.
Мною принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции.
This is the first episode of the show. Today we're talking about Muggles' politics in Europe. Do you remember how sixth part of Harry Potter starts? They have blood prints right in the opening chapter. A grim mood has gripped the country, and unfortunately this was perfectly true. The Prime Minister felt it himself. People really did seem more miserable than usual. Even the weather was dismal. All this chilly mist in the middle of July, it wasn't right. It wasn't normal. Does it remind you of something? Maybe cold and fear in the air. Yeah, Dementors are invisible but effective. Some of the Dementors are already spreading from Russia. And our question today is, how did we end up with a war happening in the middle of Europe? Is it Putin's influence so big that no one can stop him until he proves himself as a merciless butcher psychopath?
What happened with the submarine?
Она утонула.
So today I want to talk about a popular concept that Vladimir Putin is actually Voldemort. Voldemort, right? Have you also noticed? What do you think gave him away? What shall we do about it?
What message do you leave behind?
Voldemort is a vicious, loveless child of a desperately unhappy witch and some guy of a muggle world. His mom died without giving him love, and they say that Vladimir Putin was adopted and raised in a foster family. I'm not sure if Vladimir Putin grew up like Voldemort, without love, but I definitely see no love in his actions. Slytherin was the house of Voldemort. This is what he identified himself with. And this is exactly why he found that one of his ancestors was Slytherin himself.
Let's match the power of Lord Voldemort, heir of Salazar Slytherin.
One of the superpowers of Slytherin is soft skills. The ability to talk to people.
I'm sorry, dear, but to question my practices is to question the ministry, and by extension, the minister himself.
The ability to be persuasive.
She killed him. She deserves it. You know the smell, Harry.
The ability to convert people into your belief. Growing up, young Tom Riddle was choosing his friends carefully. He wanted to maximize the benefit of their friendship. Eventually, all of his friends turned into his servants. Putin is famous for being a KGB agent. It's sort of a secret police that ensured that people inside of the country are staying in line with government's ideas. And they were also dealing with political dissidents. KGB was a terrorizing and controlling organization that was spying and forcing their fascist ideology upon their own people. This is his Slytherin and the friends he surrounded himself with. Rumor has it that there are more billionaires among his friends than among Harvard Business School graduates. Right now, many European countries are trying to find connections through oligarchs to influence Putin. But most of them suddenly realize that Putin is taking those actions by himself. And no one of his followers can influence him anymore.
Говорите прямо.
Я поддержу предложение о признании.
Поддержу или поддерживаю? Говорите прямо, Сергей.
Поддерживаю предложение.
Так и скажите, да или нет.
Voldemort is a derivative of a short nickname from Vladimir, and the second part, Dumort, as you know from the books, is the death ending from the name of you-know-who. Death in French. Putin, aka Voldemort, was always striving for powers, but in a less delicate and ethical way.
Вы уж меня извините, в туалете поймаем, и в сортире их замочим, в конце концов. Все, вопрос закрыт окончательно.
Although one shouldn't underestimate the power of soft skills. By the way, this is exactly the quality that, oh my god, guess which house symbolizes? Right. Because young Putin craved so much for power, he chose his path of a KGB agent. And Germany, precisely speaking, East German Stasi tradition, has forged the monster he is today, since he spent there his memorable early professional years. So basically, he is formed by the worst European institutions at the time, Soviet and East German, which were Nazi successors. Both Voldemort and Voldemort obtained control over people by manipulating their worst impulses.
You are nothing compared to him.
Using only loyal people, he corrupts others. His corruption is empowering ignorance and hatred, both of them aiming to make their enemy feel left alone and very lonely. Did you know that Voldemort right now has all of his political opponents either in exile, imprisoned, or dead? And it's not just Navalny. Let me remind you, Navalny was poisoned with a chemical weapon. Putin wants him to feel very lonely, and therefore he makes everything possible to turn Navalny's life into a living hell. And believe me, Russian jail is the worst place to be. It is a living hell by itself. Both Voldemort and Voldemort underestimate things that they don't understand, such as love, care, support.
After all this time. Always.
He wanted to win Ukraine in 3 days. One thing that changed everything were people. Ukrainian people with a bravery. They stopped it. And this is his greatest weakness. For 7 whole books, Harry was getting ready to fight Voldemort.
I know where he is.
The 7th book, the fight for Hogwarts, is happening. In Ukraine. He wants us to feel small, to feel that we are by ourselves. He wants us to feel that nobody supports us. So don't let him, because you matter, and your actions still matter too. The war should be stopped, as should be Putin. You can help in so many ways. You can donate your money to Ukraine. Websites I trust are here under QR codes, or you can find the links in the description box down below. You can support democratic changes in Russia by supporting personally me and becoming my patron on Patreon. Remember, even a small donation matters. With your voice, you show your position. And it also shows me that we are many.